5 coaches that will be fired this year after the season. Then Houston will go out. They'll get who they want long term. Houston's got to replace quarterback. Clayton Tune could end up starting for the Arizona Cardinals this year.
You mean I gave them $5 million of my oil dollars to build a new stadium and football facility, and Texas San Antonio's going to come in and beat us?
I mean, you guys know.
Give me another beer.
This is a tough game. But if Texas San Antonio can win this, they're going to open the season 3-0 before they go to Neyland to take on Tennessee.
Yep. Is there any more accent-driven places than Arkansas and San Antone?
San Antone
and Arkansas.
Big game for Jeff Traylor. You win this game, then you could see them win every game outside of Tennessee up until that season finale in New Orleans against Tulane.
6 o'clock FS1, by the way. The Battle of the Carolinas still holding at North Carolina 2.5. For that primetime matchup.
Ooh,
North Carolina 2.5.
That's a great
game.
Yeah, neutral site game there in Charlotte.
Game day, and then the Sean McDonough, McElroy, and McGrath crew on that one, the number 2 crew.
The primetime NBC game still holding at Penn State 20.5, favored in that one.
Trying to sneak ahead to Clemson Duke on Monday night.
Yeah, I can give you that. Clemson Duke, Clemson favored 12.5. That's going up since this summer. I think that opened at 10.5.
I thought it had gone down. I thought it was 13.5.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it did.
Yeah, that number's about right. Again, I expect Clemson to be a lot better, but I expect Duke in year 2 under Mike Elko. They were really good last year, and I think they're going to be better this year.
And the LSU line still holding LSU 2.5.
Still 2.5. Yep. All right. That's from mybookie.ag. We appreciate them so much. Tell us about Shannara Flooring. Still one more thing to do in this segment. Little side note on Clemson Duke. In the Dunaway family tree, my niece's husband, a big Clemson guy, Maggie left yesterday to go back to where? Duke. They reside in Charlotte.
Oh, man.
She went to a basketball game at Cameron Indoor. There is a chance that Maggie will be in Duke gear sitting in the Clemson section.
Wow.
On Monday night.
Boy, you'd be lucky to survive that one, that kind of rivalry.
Yeah. She'll be a blue dot in an orange state. Go ahead, Brown. Tell us about Shannara Flooring.
Hey,
my cartoon laugh.
Rockstar had a Division III football program practicing in one of his rooms.
I got a bunch of injured knees.
It was just unsafe for the team, wasn't it? And for young Cord.
It was just a concrete slab and a carport, and we decided if we're going to have a kid, we need to have somewhere for him to play and run around and not bust his head open. So we went to Shannara Flooring and got carpeting for him to pee on.
Is he peeing? Is he peeing on it? Rockstar?
That's his dad. His dad gets a little excited when he plays with him. His dad's bones hurt when he's on the floor.
One more kid, and Nancy will be doing it too.
Oh, my.
Yeesh. Ton of ways.
Our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama.
Yeah, so used to be Homewood Carpet and Flooring, not Urology Centers, but Shannara Flooring did. They used to be Homewood Carpet and Flooring. They are now Shannara Flooring. You might see that different name. What you still see, though, is the same superior customer service, the best floors in Birmingham, and it is still our guy, Fu. Fu and you is still right there at Shannara Flooring. They offer the best tile, the best hardwoods, the best carpet, the best LVP, and the best LVT, all the best countertops, the best specialty flooring in Birmingham. Whether it's residential like Rockstar or it's commercial, they do it all at Shannara Flooring. You can visit them online, shannaraflooring.com. That is shannaraflooring.com. Or call 205-518-6423. That's 205-518-6423. shannaraflooring.com or 518-6423.
All right. This hour of the show always brought to you by Champy's world famous fried chicken. I appreciate Sterling. He had me a big to-go bag of chicken when I came riding through Alabaster on the way back from the Floribama. 8 dark meat, 8 pieces of white meat for Maggie and me, so I wouldn't have to worry about dinner when I got back from down on the coast. You can have that kind of treatment, too, from Champy's Chicken. Highway 119 in Alabaster, perfect for your tailgate. Cook-to-order chicken. It is so delicious. Champy'sChicken.com and those Mississippi recipe tamales right there. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. They are so good. Royal Payne says, is Maggie going to wear white jeans with a devil shirt and blow Jim's mind? Royal Payne, if you could read my mind, that would be a great dress up, wouldn't it?
White jeans in a week one game. That's a little toasty even in Durham.
If she's in white jeans, open toe shoes, and a game jersey, I don't care what team it is. Throw a hat on.
Sign Dunaway up.
Shut up. All right, our spotlight today, presented today by our friends at Champy's, is our
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show today. Brownie, do you know why I'm dressed in black over here?
Jim, why are you dressed in black?
Dressed in black today, not because maybe the Brown Bandit's back, but maybe he is.
They said he was yesterday on the phone.
He did call yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
That's great, by the way.
This is great, but I got
he's got a black hat.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Got a black heart.
It's black soul.
In movie terms, right? The bad guys always used to wear the black hat.
That's
right?
what they said.
Yeah, so you're a bad guy today.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, I must be a bad guy today, not because the Brown Bandit may be back. Upset alert later in the show, likely to start hour number 3 at 11 Central Time. But apparently, the first episode of Monday Morning Live was controversial yesterday.
What'd you guys do? Who'd y'all take shots at?
I mean, you tell me, LT, you've done this a long, long time. When a sitting head coach tweets out about a comment on game week, is that a good sign or a bad sign?
That is a bad sign, in my opinion. It's a really bad sign.
Well, I mean, it's not like he's 3 touchdown underdog to a team that played for the national championship last year, Jim. I mean, this is a layup, right? They're playing Southeastern Louisiana. Am I right about that?
They're not. They're not
playing Southeastern Louisiana? This is not some layup game?
I don't know why all of a sudden we pick on Southeastern Louisiana.
It's not even a school anymore.
Let me ask you this. If it was Deion's kid that made the comments, let me take that back. If it was any player on any SEC team, don't you think the coach would probably reprimand? Hey, we don't need this. You don't need to react.
I mean, hats off to the Georgia Bulldogs yesterday because they got asked, every player that was at the media availability yesterday at Georgia got asked, hey, every game day guy picks Alabama to win the national championship. And the one I saw, the Van Pran guy, he was like, truthfully, I don't think any of us have seen it. We've been working so hard on us. We're trying to do our thing. That stuff doesn't bother. That's outside noise. We can't deal with that. We got to worry about making us good.
Best way to answer that.
Now, after they win the national championship again, they'll be like, they didn't pick us.
They doubted us.
They didn't pick us. But right now, they're not saying that. But if you missed it yesterday on Monday Morning Live, it's up on our platforms, the Next Round platform. Cut 3, Rockstar. Tom Luganbill, who is the star of that show, he is the reason we do that show, is to pick Tom's brilliant football mind to start the week off, reacting and then looking ahead. Luganbill's cut his teeth. He played Division I football, a quarterback. He coached it, quarterback position. But his big job, his claim to fame has been following recruiting, evaluating talent, scouting players, being the guy in charge of the Under Armour All-Star game every year for ESPN. He watches a lot of tape. That's what he does. He evaluates talent. And I asked him, I remember the question. It was, about Colorado, TCU, Virginia, Tennessee in that early window on Saturday. On paper, it's a couple name brand games, but talent-wise, huge advantage TCU and Tennessee, right? And here's what Luganbill said yesterday on Monday Morning Live.
I think we're gonna finally see, for all the hoopla and all of the hype going into the offseason with Deion Sanders in Colorado, it does not mask the fact that they don't have any players on that roster. And you thought UMass was the worst roster in college football? It may be Colorado's. Now, I say that. Do they have a quarterback? Yes. Do they have 2 starting corners that could be NFL guys and one of them plays both ways? Yes. They are so devoid of talent up front on both sides of the ball. I don't know how they're going to keep their quarterback upright.
Okay, that's what he said. Quarterback's good. 2 corners could play in the NFL. Other than that, and you look at the transfer portal, they came from Maine and Southern. For every one you got that was sort of a guy that you would expect to play at that level, you got 2 or 3 that were not. Deion Sanders replies with this on Twitter yesterday. Wow. Have you been here to see any of the talent live? ? From Deion Sanders.
For the record, I love Deion Sanders.
I do too.
But if you're one of his players and now you see this out there, you want to hear the quote. And so you listen to Luganbill's sound, and then you're like, damn.
I thought I was Louis.
Am I that bad?
I'm one of those other 75 guys. I mean, he singles out 3 guys on the entire roster. I don't know if Luganbill and Prime have ever gotten sideways. I do believe this is Luganbill's his real take on this thing. But you guys remember years ago when we were talking about Florida State possibly hiring Deion Sanders, and Luganbill was like, it would be a complete disaster.
Now, in fairness, that's before Prime had ever been a football coach, period. I mean, he was literally an NFL Network barstool analyst sitting around on the couch saying, I'll come coach Florida State.
And I agreed with Luganbill's take.
And I think Luganbill was still right. And whatever Prime does now will not discount that. There's a learning process.
No doubt.
To being a head coach.
To your point, just to simplify that for those that are slow like me, Brown, you're saying when Luganbill made those statements about Prime to Florida State, he had not gone to Jackson
That's
State
right.
yet. The
never recruited.
The Deion Sanders we see now, we all think very differently. I don't know about you guys. I think Deion Sanders is eventually going to have, if he stays with it, is eventually going to have success at Colorado.
I think
it's not going to
will.
be this year.
Yeah. No, it is not. But I mean, if he had just jumped into the fire with Florida State, there, I don't know if Deion would admit this, but there were things he had to learn at Jackson State to make him who he is at Florida or at Colorado. Likewise, he would have needed somewhere to go to make him a great coach at Florida State. And I still don't know if he's going to. I think he is.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen Colorado yet.
Trent Dilfer, who's on the show later on, didn't jump into the Florida State job. He's at some people are going to say it's over his head to start at UAB.
A lot of people have
from
said that.
high school.
Yeah.
But he's at UAB for his first college coaching job. Hugh Freeze went to Arkansas State, but was a coordinator in college or was a coach, an assistant coach in college before he did that. Gus Malzahn, a high school coach, was on a staff before.
Right.
They didn't go straight from high school to being a head coach like Trent has. They didn't go from being an analyst to being a head coach like Deion has.
Smuff asked the question in the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room. What are you defining as success at Colorado? So there's a varying degrees that you can say, he's been successful, but give me the baseline. Baseline if he does this.
Bowl game next year is a step in the.
If he just does a bowl game next year, 6-6 next year, you're like, he's been successful already at Colorado.
Well, by Colorado standards, that is
I don't
recent
disagree.
history. That's really good.
Don't disagree. I'm just asking.
And then third year, a better bowl game.
Yeah.
And then fourth year, if he's still there, then I think he's contending for the Big 12
12
championship.
Yeah,
That's success.
I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they said if he wins 4 games this year, he should be your national coach of the year because that roster is so bad right now.
Yes.
So I really don't have any expectation for Colorado. I expect them to get blown out on Saturday, and we'll just see if they get a little bit better, if they can keep their bodies upright throughout the year. I think 3 wins would be fine with that fan base. I think 6 next year. I agree with you. I just think it's a small, slow build.
Okay, let me ask this question a different way, and I think you get a more accurate answer. If today, or back in the spring, whenever, in January, Lincoln Riley had said, hey, I thought I'd like USC. I've always wanted to live in the mountains where it's cold in the winter. I'm taking the Colorado job. What would be your expectations for Lincoln Riley? Or if Kirby Smart said, you know what, it is so hot in Athens.
For this year?
No. What would make him a success is what I'm asking you. If Kirby Smart said, I'm walking away. If Urban Meyer said, I can't stand retirement anymore, I got to come coach. I'm coach of Colorado. If you gave it to Lincoln Riley, Kirby Smart, or Urban Meyer, what would be a success for those guys?
Maybe a 1-year different transition for me.
So
I would think 6-6 this year for any of those.
No. I still, not this year because I don't think they could change it.
You're saying compete for the conference in year 3.
I would think
year
that
3 as opposed to year 4.
They would know how to build a roster a lot better than Deion based on experience.
There's no doubt.
So I think those guys this year could get to 6-6.
Okay, so
I'm not saying they would, but I think they could.
Accepted elite coaches. I mean, guys that we would say, yeah, that's an elite coach. You think they could contend for the conference in year 3?
Maybe just,
So that's your baseline.
Just
that's
a 1-year difference.
So I'm establishing a baseline right there. That's your baseline.
Yeah.
And if Deion's 1 year past that, then that's a huge success to me. The guy's in his first major job.
Yeah, if he's got Colorado, to me, success is year 4 playing in the Big 12 before the Big 12 championship. But I would say that about, Billy Napier, if he had gone to Colorado. I would say that about just about anybody except the elite of the elite if they had gone to Colorado. I think Deion is a really, really good college football coach.
Yeah.
And it's going to
find
show.
out.
It's going to show because, A, you got to recruit and you got to inspire, right? And I think he's able to do that.
I think he can inspire and I think he can recruit.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and he knows football. He knows football. But
there's no doubt he knows
at that
football.
position, when you're the head coach, you gotta be able to manage people. I think he can do that. That's what Nick Saban does and the greats. You got to be able to recruit. You got to be able to recognize talent, and recognizes game, and I think Deion can do that. And you got to inspire, and that guy can be inspirational. I think what Luganville is saying, and a lot of people are saying this year, is that he is going in to a gunfight with the knife.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt, and I think Deion probably knows that. I think Deion's probably taking the back of his players here and trying to win the locker room even more than he already has. The thing with Deion is, like, he's so promotional of Deion. You just don't see many coaches that do that and are successful. You don't see Nick Saban do that. You don't see Kirby Smart do that. You didn't see Dabo do it. I mean, Lance used to criticize Dabo for doing it a little too much. Dabo's a librarian compared to Deion.
I do. I've always liked Deion. I mean, this is just what you expect with Deion.
That's what I'm saying. But what coach have we ever seen do it this way and win? What coach have we ever seen that basically turns his college football team into a personal reality show and wins at a big level?
Well, I'm trying to think who's ever even tried it.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And that's why this is fascinating to watch.
By the way, the Hard Knocks teams, do they have a huge success rate? I think one of the better ones was the Jets. They got them to
AFC Championship?
Game, yeah.
I don't know. Most of them don't.
When you let the cameras in, usually it's not a great year. Maybe the Jets changed that this year. Another thought on that real quickly about what Deion did and said yesterday after we tell you about our friends at Bromberg's. And we're friends with Joel Klatt, who's on our show every week. I'm looking forward to, Colorado being good again. Last week I said, if I could go to one game to a place I haven't been yet, I want to go to a game at Folsom Field. I want it to be, chance of snow, maybe a few flurries. I want to see the mountains. I want to go to Boulder to a game. And I know it's probably a dumpy stadium, but that just looks like college football to me. And I hope Deion's successful again. I think what Lugs is saying, in fact, I know what Lugs is saying, roster ain't there yet. And we're gonna start seeing that this Saturday on Fox with Klatt there, all in person.
And I can't believe there's people out there that believe that Deion might be able to pull the upset. Now, look, if he does and shocks the world, then we can all be wrong.
Hey,
yeah.
And you know what? We'll eat some crow on Monday morning.
I'd
literally eat crow, right?
I would love to see it, though.
Yeah. I will get see Sterling. Hit us up, Sterling, if you're listening already today. Champy's world famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Can you cook crow?
Can you grill crow?
Would
you want it grilled?
No, I think I want that deep fried.
Okay, deep fried crow. Go ahead and kill everything.
With as much sauce in it as you can. Yeah. Bromberg's, and then one more thought on what Deion did yesterday.
Family owned and operated since 1836. Our friends at Bromberg's, they are your diamond specialists. If you're thinking about popping the question, these are the guys you need to go see. 2 great locations, Mountain Brook and the Summit. You can always shop online. Go to brombergs.com today. Check out their vast selection of jewelry, timepieces, gifts, quality diamonds. Again, brombergs.com. Nothing like giving or getting that silver box from our friends at Bromberg's.
One person early on in social media, in the Twitter world, I think it started, 2008, 2009 when it really took off, I think, somewhere around there. They told me one time I was replying to a negative comment, and the person who made a negative comment had like 5 followers, and I had more than 5. And they were like, why did you reply to that person? Because you're giving that person your platform at that point. Now everybody who follows you and they see that person. It was 5 people could see that comment. Now more than 5 people could see that. All Deion did yesterday, we have a big following. All Deion did yesterday was basically give us his platform at that point.
And don't think we don't appreciate that.
Thank
Greatly,
you.
yes.
Thank you, Deion. If you Colorado colors on today.
That's right.
If we can talk Luganville into doing a controversial soundbite every week and get a coach to respond, that would be huge.
Yeah, but Lugs is giving his honest opinion about the Colorado roster. A little hyperbole in there with the UMass comment coming off of what UMass, because I had said earlier in the show, I thought UMass was 133 this year. I thought they were dead last, and they're apparently not as they come to Auburn. But Deion yesterday, lending the world his platform with the response there, and we're thankful of that. There was another coach yesterday, Jim Harbaugh. No audio here, Rockstar. This is just an observation. Jim Harbaugh, who is not, he can practice his team, but he's not going to coach these first 3 games, self-imposed by Michigan, but he's out there practicing. But if you think Jim Harbaugh is not upset with the NCAA, all you have to do is look at his news conference yesterday, where he basically suggested it is time for a new college sports revenue model. And basically, he's insinuating that, we really don't need the NCAA anymore. And sign me up as a guy who's for this new college sports revenue model. Jim Harbaugh, and for all the coaches who have hated the NCAA over the years, all the way back to the, whoever was running SMU and they got the death penalty or anybody else, this is the time that the big voices in college athletics can take the knees out from under the NCAA if they all start saying, we really don't need the NCAA anymore. And he didn't come right out and say that yesterday, but basically
He said it a couple of weeks ago.
that's what he's hinting, is that I'm all for a new college sports revenue model, and basically we don't need the NCAA. So these people who I'm going to sit out these first 3 games, and that's a lot to me. I know you guys are saying that it's just, the Bowling Greens and the UNLVs and the Rutgers and all those of the world, but this is a big deal to me that I can't coach my guys in a game, and that's why I'm here, is for game days and practices. I get to practice them, but I won't be there every game day. But as we look into the future, we may not need these guys that I'm being suspended. I'm taking a 3-game suspension.
I mean, he's right, and I think in his coaching career, you'll see the end of it. I think Harbaugh will be around long enough at Michigan that you'll see the end of the NCAA. I think at some point these schools are going to realize we don't really need it anymore. Why? Now that it is legal to compensate players based on their name, image, and likeness, that's really all we needed the NCAA to do, was somehow police recruiting, so that to me, the 2 things the NCAA did, and I'm sure there are people that will laugh at this, but let's be real about it. The 2 things the NCAA did, police recruiting and put on a basketball tournament. And you can't tell me you can't find somebody that could put on the NCAA tournament probably better than the NCAA does. You can't go hire an organization and say, okay, we need you to look at that model, copy it the best you can, and let's go. Right?
Yeah. I mean, the Knight Edie's of the world could jump right in there and say,
that's right,
we can manage a basketball tournament.
Give us a fraction of that. We'll work day and night on it.
Lance is an idea, man.
Real quickly, beer and wine sales and seltzer sales at the NCAA basketball
you
tournament.
have Jaeger shots.
So, I mean, there is somebody that could run that for the NCAA, for the schools, for the collection of schools, whatever they want to call themselves. If you don't think that could happen, you're crazy.
I think this is going to be a theme. Now, again, Michigan, their goal is to win a national championship this year. By the way, had the 2nd overall pick last night. I took the Michigan Wolverines.
Did you now?
I did.
Who went first? Georgia?
Yeah. I would have taken Georgia.
It's overall wins, right?
Yeah.
Not just regular season?
So in picks last night, you get win totals and shutout.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I'll tell people the model. There's 8 of us. We draft 10 college teams.
Yep.
We draft 4 NFL teams. You get wins for points for wins, minus points for loss, extra points for shutout, getting shut out, and getting to the playoffs, stuff like that. Winning bowl games.
I wanted us to do that so bad up here on a much smaller scale. I think it would be fascinating. I've always wanted to do it, but I'm not in your friend group there. I would ask you though, Alabama went lower than ever before.
I just nobody likes me. So.
I think Alabama went 3rd or 4th.
Okay, but they've never gone 3rd or 4th before, I would imagine.
I think they might have. There was a year where Clemson was favored to win it. I think Clemson went number 1 based on the ACC schedule, and then maybe Ohio State went 2, and then Alabama.
Okay.
But, I mean, this was, one of the lowest, and I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah. So, if it's over 20 years, then Alabama has gone much lower.
Yeah, you're right.
Surely years, you got them in a bargain.
I meant recent years.
Yeah, I think there were some years maybe Alabama didn't even go.
No. How many people were picking?
There's 80 of the 133. Yeah. But you got to remember this. You would much rather have, Tulane went off the board at number 8. I don't believe Tulane's going to be that good.
Yeah, but if you had them last year.
But my buddy Tom Montgomery does. If you had them last year.
Yeah, it's a great time to have them.
So they went off the board at 8, and a team like Texas A&M didn't go until the 4th round.
Yeah. By the way, maybe moron South Alabama Tulane coming up a little bit later on
Get Jimmy
in our upset alert. Just hang in there. One more thing in this segment, but first let me tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness. If you're sitting there, I went and got some blood work done yesterday. It's the first time I've ever gone to get blood work done. I haven't been worried about cholesterol in my blood skyrocketing because I'm on this Way to Wellness plan for a couple of years. They literally saved my life when my cholesterol numbers were shooting through the roof. Blood pressure was bad. Our friends at Way to Wellness, Leslie, her board-certified team, taking care of me. You can find out details. Aplanforme.com is the website. Aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness here locally. Board-certified team. Jumpstart your weight loss. Control those blood pressure and cholesterol numbers. All board-certified professionals that oversee the plan. No cookie-cutter plan there. There's also no contracts, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free. It's Way to Wellness. If you want to feel healthier, get a better plan for you, but not feel hungry, they got a plan for you. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Just go to the website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Later on, more coaches getting upset with outside entities, SARC. Deion's not the only one. Sark taking a shot at the Big 12 commissioner. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the depth chart saga, both in Tuscaloosa and Auburn. It was an odd day yesterday. We talked about it a little bit in our overtime segment. We'll get to that coming up a little bit later on. But on the field news from Sam Hartman yesterday. Sam Hartman, you've asked this a couple of times with Tommy Reese in Tuscaloosa. And he admitted that he was recruited by 3 SEC schools, but chose Notre Dame. He was recruited heavily by Florida.
That was the first one I was going to say. I'm sure the very first day Billy Napier could blow his phone up, he did.
A little less than Florida, but more than the third team, Auburn.
Yep, not surprised at that either.
And in his words, a little bit by Alabama.
A little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, if
Florida,
I'm Hartman,
Auburn, and a little bit by Alabama, says Sam Hartman.
If I'm Hartman, the only one I would have taken was Alabama, a chance to win a championship. And again, I think they might be your favorite if Hartman went there. I'm a little surprised Bama didn't put the press on a little more.
Well, he said he chose Notre Dame because he evaluated the offenses, and he really liked that offense.
So he didn't like his former offense coordinator. I know Reese wasn't there when he actually decided to transfer, but once he did.
So I wonder if Bill O'Brien was still in Tuscaloosa, if Hartman had taken that, or if when he made the choice, Bill O'Brien had not left yet. I don't know the timeline.
I think it's different. As much as I respect Dave Clawson, I think getting an endorsement from Dave Clawson and Nick Saban is night and day. I think getting one from Marcus Freeman and Nick Saban is night and day. And I'm talking about when NFL teams come to evaluate Sam Hartman and they talk to a guy like Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's like, this is a professional quarterback.
Yeah, I believe it.
That carries a lot of weight.
Especially Alabama's current track record. I mean, they got 4 starters that have played at Alabama, 3 that were only at Alabama.
Yeah, we had a nice viewer yesterday send us a picture. It was a son's birthday, and he sent this on Twitter. His son's birthday, and he wanted to go get a good steak. Wanted to grill steaks. And so where did he take his son? Took him to the butcher.
New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop, LT.
I saw that. He said, look, it was our first time. It will not be our last. He said, you guys have been hyping them up, and it lived up to the hype. I'm telling you.